Good morning. Thank you so very much for deciding to do this practice today. Settle yourself in, whether you're sitting, whether you are laying down. Notice, sometimes as soon as you say, settle yourself in, the breath just goes into this deep inhale and slow exhale. Our bodies intuitively know now what the beginning of our practice is. And enjoying this ability to hold space for yourself. To connect with yourself. Maybe even find a little quiet. And see if you can trace a little sensation of postural awareness. And that might start by the slightest movement of your head. And that filters down, perhaps towards the feeling of the placement of your shoulders, down into the movement of your rib cage as you breathe. All the way down into the lower back and pelvis. Now see if you can take the rib cage and let it glide like an arc, a bit right and up, and a bit left and up. And you can start with a rib cage arcing as your initiation of movement, but then it can move in other ways too. You might turn. Might curve and arch. But the idea is that the generation of the movement is starting around your rib cage. And if you notice that all of that motion is coming from your lower ribs, what about trying to move through the upper ribs? We have a new favorite commercial from my 9-year-old, right? It's holiday weekend. We're spending a lot more time doing bad things like watching a lot of TV. But his favorite commercial is the new Verizon commercial. And I love the actress that plays it. Every time I look at her, I'm like, dude, her rib cage looks a little stuck, right? And I don't know, it could just be her acting, right? But I want you to feel that all of your ribs you might be able to move a bit. And when that area can move and flow, you're moving so much of your spine. And hopefully you can start to feel it loosen up in your neck and low back. So you can let that movement maybe not be quite about the ribs now. Maybe it's more into the low back and pelvis. Or maybe you went the opposite way and you're like, I need to move my head and neck more. It could be all of it at once. Start to integrate a bit into your limbs, into the arms, into the legs. And you're eventually going to bring this into a position. Wasn't kidding about my blanket. Yeah. Where your feet are flat. I'm sitting up on something, but you don't have to. You could be down. Hey, Paula. Let your legs start to rock a bit from side to side. And then let your pelvis, ooh, that's a cool one. Twist and rock with it too. Around and back. Around and back. And you can keep it just like this, or you can start to take it up a little. Go around towards the right. Maybe you lift your hips and you come onto your knees. Or even step one foot slightly forward. Or down the floor. Or you bring it all the way up, almost like you're going towards a mini downward dog. And then swivel it all back. Other side, little downward dog. And swivel it back. You can do that once or twice more. Until you come into a comfortable seat. Take a moment in your comfortable seat. Nice deep breath in. Nice deep breath out. Noticing your level of postural sensation and connection. Shift yourself around. Tuck your toes underneath you. And either sitting back a little bit, taking child's pose with the toes tucked, or if you really want to go into your feet right away. Coming up, pressing the hands into the thighs. We'll squish there. Toes might be very cold. Be nice to them. And then exhale, everyone lift up onto the balls of your feet. So a little crouch. I once saw this dance performance in New York, and they transitioned around an entire cigar factory like that. It was just looked amazing and painful. Won't make you do that. So for a moment, I want you to see if you could either hug your thighs or let your fingertips reach forward and let the heels get weighted down. You might be able to drop the weight of your head. Just feel the release through the back of the leg, back of the heels. And then start to come up. Take your feet outer hip bone distance or wider. Hands can be on the blocks if you like, or you can take hold of opposite elbows. And start to let your torso sway. Generating a gentle movement from the pelvis. Might even be making a little figure eight there. Find stillness, dropping the arms. And then slowly, slowly, slowly make your way all the way up to stand. And give yourself a moment there just to arrive in standing. Pressing down through, across the balls of the feet, across the toes, into inner and outer heels. Draw the feet in towards one another, up through the inner thighs. And then inhale, reach the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, bend the knees, keep the heart lifted, circle and sweep the arms all the way back overhead. And keep doing that, bend, circle, sweep, back up. A few more times. One last time like that. And then exhale, fold it all the way forward. Inhale, walk it forward into either table pose or plank pose. Pause for a breath there. And then lower down intentionally your knees, your chest, and your chin. Oh man, that floor is cold. Lift up, baby cobra. And then exhale, Draw yourself back towards child's pose. Sit back towards your heels. Inhale, lift your hips up off of your heels, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, lean towards the right. Your right hand might rest on your right hip. Fingertips might dangle towards the floor for a while. And then inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, tip left. And then inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, release the hands down, curl your toes. Prop yourself up once more to the balls of your feet. See if you can start to weight your heels down. Maybe you even hover the hands. While you do that, some people, your heels go down. And then lifting the hips up, bowing forward. Gentle bend of the knees, go all the way up and roll up through spine. Inhale, arms reach towards the sky. Exhale, bend the knees, chest stays lifted, circle, sweep the arms back up. You do it a few times. Like your breath and your movement. You could move really slow because your breath is slow. You can move really fast because your breath is faster. At the top, reach up, and then exhale, fold it all the way in. Inhale, slide the hands up the legs. Exhale, bend the knees, walk yourself forward, plank or table. Next exhale, lower down, perhaps it's knees, chest and chin. Slide yourself forward and through your version of cobra. There can be some wiggle room in that first couple. Forget it, all of them if you want. And then exhale, peel it back, child's pose. Sweep yourself all the way up onto your shin bones. Reach the arms high. Exhale, tip it left. And bring it up. Tip it right. And bring it up. This time, maybe you tuck your toes from here, sit the hips back, and then see, can you float your knees up without falling over? Bad example on my part. Thanks, Paul, you're making me feel better there. And then bow yourself forward. Roll all the way up through your spine. And then just start to march just a bit in place. I want you to see how much you can draw the knee up towards the chest. Just a few times. And then the next time you bring the right leg up, hug it in. Really reach up, lifting up through the crown of the head. And this time, as you exhale, sit it down either towards a chair pose, or if you're feeling open for it, a squat. And then pressing down through your feet, come up, nice. Transfer the weight onto the right leg, left knee, how you doing? Give a nice little compression of your hip in its socket. Lift up through the chest, through the torso. Maybe circle the ankle. And then exhale, chair pose. Or go all the way to a squat. And then this time start to press yourself up just enough to walk it forward to table, or if you'd like, downward facing dog. Maybe you're greeting an old friend here. You could take some movement either in your table, doing cat and cows or circling, or in dog, you could be pedaling, shifting. And there can be a nice sigh as you exhale. And now take your right foot, step it forward between your hands. Come up onto the pads of the fingers or up onto blocks. Let the hips descend just a bit and chest lift up. And then exhale, scoop the hips back, straightening a bit. Go between the 2 points, shifting forward and shifting back. Working to feel that wave of motion through the body. And the next time you come forward, set that left knee all the way down. And find your way up into your low lunge. How does it feel to be you breathing here? Exhale, release the hands down. Curl your back toes. Lift that back knee up. And then spin yourself around to the long edge of your mat. Legs are parallel for a moment here. And with your legs parallel, just see how much you can bend into one leg and then the other. And for some in a parallel capacity, that motion's limited. That's okay. It's just the position of your femur and the hip. Nothing you can do about it. Pivot yourself all the way back to the front of your mat. Keep your left hand on the ground or anchored. Right hand to the right thigh or reach it up. Nice twist there. Exhale, release the hand down. Step your way back. Plank pose. And make your way through any type of vinyasa you may want. No vinyasa. Cold floor is definitely motivation for chaturanga. Breast attack. Downward facing dog or child's pose. Nice. Deep breath in. Sigh it out. Set your knees, your shins down. Come all the way up, like you're going towards camel pose. Bring your hands to sides of the waist, keeping your body almost like a board. Lean it back a little bit. Engage through your glutes, engage through the front line of the body, and then come back up. We'll play this game a few more times. You might lean back tiniest bit and say, okay, that's enough. Or you might feel comfortable being a relative term. Just shift back a little bit further. Tuck your toes now. Sitting back towards your heels, can you bring the knees up? And exhale, lift your hips up, fold yourself in. Roll all the way up through the spine. And pause for a breath. Tadasana. And take your hands to your hips. Lift up your right leg. Then I want you to see if you can start to circle your right leg to the side, and then it's going to rotate internally and come back behind you. Draw your knees close. And do that a few times. Lift it up. Circle. Knees close. One more time. Up. Circle. And this time, instead of just bringing the knees close, step your right foot to the outside of your left, so it's behind it. And perhaps that bows forward a bit. As you inhale and press yourself up, lift up through the torso. Now take your right leg, lift it up and around to the front and circle it either into tree or into a figure four. Maybe you start to let the hips sink back a bit, or you're in tree pose and you're reaching the arms up towards the sky. Either way, you're breathing. Bring yourself all the way up and out of it. Stand, reach the arms up high. Exhale, fold yourself forward. Slide your hands up the legs, inhale, lengthen. Bend your knees, walk it out, down dog or table or child. And again, there could be some movement or some stillness. Now take that left leg, step it forward. Tent your fingertips there. You can let the hips descend a bit, chest lift up. And then exhale, draw the hips back. And keep waving forward and back through that motion. Letting it flow all the way up through your head, neck and shoulders. The next time you wave it forward, set your right knee down and find your way into your low lunge. Standing steady. Breathing is deep, even, and balanced. Exhale, hands come down, curl your back toes, lift that right knee up, and pivot around to the long edge of your mat. You can stick with parallel, or just to explore the difference in your own body, turn the legs out and play with bending one knee and across to the other. Move your torsos, even kind of snaking through the movement. I find after a holiday weekend of different kinds of foods, sometimes more sitting than usual, blowing it out can be nice. Pivot yourself back to the front of your mat, turning that left leg parallel. Let your left arm come up. Twist. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, hand comes down. Your choice. Any type of vinyasa in you today, go for it. Not feeling like a vinyasa today, that's good too. Meeting back, child's pose or dog. Shift forward, set the shin bones down. Sweep the arms up and overhead. We'll play with this front body strength again. Your choice. You can take your hands to your hips. If you want, this makes it a little bit more accessible. Reach the arms out in front of you. To counter lever and shift. Lean it back a little or a lot. Well, the arms forward makes a big difference. Come forward. Do it again. And come up. Just want you to feel the front of the body really awake for you. One more time. Come up. Tuck your toes, sit back towards your heels, and then maybe it changes if you repeat it. Hips come up, you bow forward. And slowly bend the knees, roll your way up to stand. When you're there, stand onto your right leg, hands wherever you'd like, really. They can be on your hips or not. Lift your left leg up. Circle the left leg out to the side, and when it can't go without moving the pelvis, start to turn the leg in. And then roll it in to tap the back of the knee and bring it up and through to the chest. Knee goes out to the side. It rolls in when you need it to, and comes back. And last time through, lift it, circle, around, set the foot to the outside from behind of your right leg. You can bow forward, tip blocks to the ground. Or don't bow forward and bow at all. That's great too. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. Inhale, lengthen the spine, come all the way out, back up. And now reverse it. Your left knee is lifting back behind you into a plank. And when you can, comes forward, it turns out, turns out, turns out, turns out. And you can either take a figure 4 or tree. Hips can start to sit back, or the arms could be reaching up. And then inhale, unwind it, come all the way to stand Tadasana. Sweep your arms up on your next breath in. And exhale, fold it forward. Slide the hands up the leg, lengthen. Exhale, walk it forward, dog or table. Deep breath in there. And deep breath out. And take your right leg and sweep it up and back. From table or from dog, start to bend that right knee. It's turning out quite a bit as the knee bends out towards the right, draws forward into the belly, and kicks straight up behind you. Do it again. Knee bends, take the knee out towards the right, around and in towards the belly, and sweep it up and back. And the next time you do that, bend, sweep it forward, draw it in towards the belly, step the foot forward between your hands, and sweep yourself into nice high lunge. Hold the space for yourself. Oh, beautiful work. Feel clarity and stillness. Reach up and out of it. Pivot around to the back of your mat, bending towards a warrior 2. How are you breathing? Start to tip your way forward, side angle pose from there. Maybe your hands on the ground, hovering, or you're resting the forearm on the thigh. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach the left arm up towards the sky. Pivot the feet all the way back to the front of the mat. And then set that left hand down. Start with your spiral, your twist. But you can evolve it this time. Maybe roll to the outer edges of your feet. Maybe you take it towards side plank, or even take your right foot into a tree shape on top of the left thigh. Spiral yourself back and take what you'd like. Down dog, child's pose. Any type of flow or stillness. There's space there for a nice deep breath in. A little sigh, breath out. So from table or dog, whatever you did on the first side, left leg, sweep it up. Start to bend the left knee out towards the left. Circle it, see if you can keep the rest of the body stable, forward and into the chest, and kick it back. Bend the knee out to the left. Strong lift of the right side ribs and right body. Lift the left leg back up. Next time you go to do that, bend the knee, rotate it forward, 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 step it in between, and sweep. Crescent lunge. Feel yourself breathe there. Come up and out of it. Pivot to the back of your mat. Warrior 2. Another nice deep breath in there. And then exhale. Shift it. Side angle pose with your forearm touches. You take the shape that works for you. And then inhale, bring yourself all the way back up, straightening through the legs, sweep the right arm up high. Pivot around to the front of the mat. Set that right hand down and then start to roll to the outer edges of your feet if you like. Stack it into side plank or bring that foot up into a bit of a tree. Beautiful, nice, Mary. Step it around, plank, downward dog, vinyasa, rest. And take it back. Maybe you're sitting on your heels in child's pose, sipping tea. We're gonna build on that little flow. You're just standing split. You're just standing split coming. You're sitting towards Ardha Matsyendrasana. So I just might want some blocks. And as always, invent what works better for you. You know your body in such a profound, amazing way that I don't. So, ready? Downward facing dog. Or child's pose or table. Well, that's not true, not child's pose. Table or down dog. Lift it up. Take your right leg, sweep it up and back. Now let's reverse the circle. Draw the right knee in towards the chest. Open the knee out to the side and kick it up. Do it again, bend in. Out to the side, and up. And last time. Hopefully finding the strength all the way around the outer hip. Step the right foot forward between the hands. Sweep yourself all the way up. Angle the back heel though this time. Warrior one. Do you feel grounded? Reach yourself up out a bit, pivot around to the back of the mat, take warrior two. And this time from your warrior two, start to straighten through the left leg as you tip your way out. And set triangle pose. Hand can set to shin. Or not. Breathe there. And then start to bring it into side angle pose. You can bend that knee, slide the elbow up the thigh. So the arm comes up and overhead on the right. And inhale, bring it all the way up. Reach the left arm high. Circle yourself back around to the front of the mat and take your hands out in front of that right leg and lift up into a standing split pose. Hands can be on blocks if you want to. Can you feel the reach up through that left leg? It's active all the way into your left calf muscles. And then next exhale, bend your right knee. And you're gonna come to sit. Maybe it's into half lower to the fishes right away, and you take that left knee and cross it to the outside of your right and sit down. Maybe your hips don't bend that way, and you sit cross-legged. Hug your knee with your hands if you are in this shape. If you're sitting in cross-legged, take your twist to the right. Everyone, twist to the right. Maybe you're hugging that knee in, yeah, with the left arm. Just had a little wave of nostalgia for always seeing someone in a big class get confused and twist the other way. You can't help people now with that because I can't quite tell if you're online. Spin yourself around just to a little counter twist. You can uncross and slide your legs back and meet us in plank, or you can shift, stand up onto that right leg, lift the left leg up towards the sky. Step the left foot back, step the right foot back, land it in plank. And your choice, down dog, vinyasa. Moment to rest. What do you need? Meet back there for a moment, child's or dog. Deep breath in. And deep breath out.
Left leg, sweep it up and back. And then you're reversing it. So draw the knee forward in towards the chest. Open the knee out to the left and sweep it up. And do that 2 more times. Draw in, around, and up. It doesn't have to be the biggest circle. It's the one that your hip can describe. In, around, and up. Step the foot forward in between the hands. Lower angle the back heel down. Come into your warrior one. Pause there. Another breath or so. Feel how you anchor into your feet. Lift out of it, pivot around to the back of your mat, warrior two. And then start to send the hips back as you lengthen the torso forward into triangle pose. Feel yourself breathe. And then start to bend that right knee. Shift the left arm overhead, wherever your right hand lands for side angle, it's fine. And then inhale, come all the way up. Reach your right arm up towards the sky. Spin around to the front of your mat. Take your hands out in front of that left leg. Maybe they're on blocks. Stand up on it. Standing split pose. Be actively engaged all the way up through that right leg. It really is an opportunity to connect to the rotators of your right hip, to the extensors of the right thigh. And then exhale. Start to bring it down. Maybe you sit down, Ardha Matsyendrasana. Maybe you take a cross-legged shape. Doesn't sitting after a standing split seem like the best idea ever? Could just be me. Pause in that twist. Sip some tea in this twist. And feel yourself breathe. Bring it around. Counter it the other way. And then shift your way forward. Either step your way back by crossing the legs, or maybe you transfer your weight up onto it. Come back up into your standing split for a moment. And then step one foot back, the other foot back. Vinyasa if you want. Child's pose. Or down dog if you want. One last time, sit down to your shin bones. Come up into that kneeling shape. The ideas that we got from that hinge back, right, of how much kind of wrapping from the outside of the body into the front and up. I want you to maintain that while doing a little bit of a twist. So your right arm circles, and you can exaggerate it. You can lean into the left, circle it all the way up and around, and maybe it goes back towards your right foot and comes back. And do that a few times on the same side. But you can hinge back a little bit because you've worked into that strength. Big old circles. And the next time you land there, maybe your right hand comes to the hip or the right heel. Maybe your left arm comes overhead. 2 breaths there. Let's circle it all the way back up. Step your right foot forward. Maybe you take a twist here as well. Maybe the elbow comes across. You're breathing deeply. You can tuck the back toes, lift the back knee up if you want to. And then exhale. Knee comes down, hands come down. You can start to extend that right leg towards a bit of a runner stretch. And there can be movement there, wiggling or not. If you are so inclined, you could glide it out towards Hanuman. Oddly enough, we've done lots and lots of hip work. I can always gauge when I've done the work to prep for a pose like this one. It's always like a pleasant surprise of, oh, wasn't what I thought it would be. The floor is still cold though, and that's quite miserable for Hanuman. Draw it all back in. Yogi's choice here. You can step it back, take a vinyasa. You can sit it back onto your heels. What do you need? And then bring yourself up onto your shins. What I want you to feel, there's a strength integrating into your legs, into your belly, right, that allows this movement. But I want you to feel that you're really letting the ribs flow here, just like you did when we were seated. So the left arm reaches across the body to the right, circle it, sweep it back. You could graze your foot and come back. And do that a few times. And there's no perfect size. It's really what place in your movement do you feel connected to your body? And the next time you bring it back, you can set it. Maybe your foot, you're touching your hand to your foot. Maybe it's on your hips. But that right arm could reach up and overhead. Feels lovely through the whole right side. And then inhale, pull your center together. Hands to your heart. Step that left foot forward. And you can twist it. Right elbow across. So I was sliding, patting underneath my knee. You can too. On your call, you want to tuck the toes. Lift the knee or not. Engage through that right glute though. Pick up that right thigh. And then exhale. Knee can come down, hands can come down. Hips draw back. Left leg shifts forward. Your choice. Where does this go from here? Does it go towards Hanuman? Doesn't have to, but it can. How are you breathing in the shape? You glance out a window and see a little snowfall. And then gently slide it all back. Down dog, vinyasa. Sit on your heels. And your standing sequence, how you would like. Give yourself a moment. And sitting back on your heels in Vajrasana or sit on a block if you prefer. I'm going to take your hips. Yeah, so don't sit on a block there. And shift them off to the right. Your right toes, your right foot is resting in the arch of your left foot. And your left hand can cross. I always think of this as school picture pose. Turn your head. You turn your head a little bit to the left. And then perhaps, for some of you, you lift your right arm up and overhead. You breathe into that whole side of the waist on the right. Down into your right hip.
Bring yourself up, set the hands down. I want you to shift your way forward and then send that left leg out to the side. You can scooch the left leg out a little bit more if you want to. This is really personal, it's finicky, right? You might take the leg a little to the side and you feel your inner thigh and you can balance the length with your hips, or the balance side in the hips and length in your waist. You might come down to your forearm. You might take that foot further out to the side, and a lot of that has to do with bone structure. I like the rock a little forward and a little back. It almost describes the whole arc of the adductors, which go from the back of your sit bone all the way up to your pubic bone. Walk your hands back, slide that left leg in and out. And then from here, if you can, I want you to turn your right leg underneath you. So you slide it in and sit back on your butt. Yeah, that was it, Mary. Nice. You can play around for a second here. You move your pelvis around, find some balance. And I know you're really open here. Start to turn just a bit to the left. And in this shape, you're wiggling through the pelvis. What I want you to feel more than anything is you're anchoring back through that right hip in that intentional little bit of a spiral. You don't have to go that far, but your QL. Beautiful, loud muscle of the back. From your pelvis to your lower ribs, get some love. The QL is a fascinating one. It can complain a lot. It's actually one of the muscles where people, when they have their back, quote unquote, go out, sometimes it's that the QL actually went into complete spasm. Bring yourself up. And as you do, you're going to lean a little bit into your right hand. If you want to do the big dramatic, pick it up, you can, or you can just slide that left shin in like a sweet little package. Shift back into Vajrasana. And then shift your hips over to the left. Feet come out a little bit to the right. Left foot in the arch of your right foot. Right hand to the left thigh, and then maybe you float that left arm up. Your drishti, your gaze, can go towards your right shoulder or down to the right heel. And just breathing there. Make some space through your waist. Now to come out of this, you're going to shift yourself forward. It's a little bit on a diagonal, right? So you can pick up onto your shin bone and send that right foot out to the side. The right foot could be a little forward. It could be a little back. Really, you're finding the sweet spot in your own hip. You might be up high. You might even have your hands on blocks here. You could slide the leg out a little. You always want to find the place where you're not in there's a balance between gravity and your strength. And you don't want to be in the place where you're like, gravity's winning, gravity's winning. You feel like you're getting pulled down. Another breath or so here. Walk back up onto your hands. Slide your hips over that left knee. And I'm actually turning my left shin bone and then seeing if I can sit back from there and dragging the knee in. That might not work for you. You could sit down. It's like you're in a wide-legged seat, but the left knee is in. Our left foot is in. And at first, feel your sit bones. Move them underneath you so you feel the most balance you can. We're not looking for a deep forward fold here, right? It's not like your traditional Janu Shirshasana. Twist a bit towards the right, and then start to bring it in a little bit. Maybe you fold it in a bit. I have my right fingertips tented back a bit and my left arm forward. And I don't know about you all, but I've noticed there's a monumental difference of one QL to the other. Maybe you have that too, maybe not. 2 more breaths there. Bring yourself back up. And you can lean onto the left outer hip if you want, pick your hips all the way up, or drag your right knee in, bring it up around, and take a wide knee child's pose. Nice place to feel grounded. So we're going to transition to an inversion practice. And I'm going to let you decide what you want. For me, I like playing with a little headless headstand prep before switching, especially coming from this wide knee child pose place. You might have your hands interlaced, elbows, forearms down, and then lift your hips up. And you could take a few breaths there. You could head directly into legs up the wall or something else. Japurita Karani. Sorry, my brain shut down there. Where do you want to go? But we'll be here for a couple minutes. Taking a few more breaths in this shape. Start to bring yourself back to a place where you're resting, constructive rest on your mat. That's laying down, feet flat, knees bent, and feet can go wider than hip bone distance apart, and knees can drape in on one another. Rest your hands on your lower belly. What does your movement instinct tell you here? Tell you to sit perfectly still? Tell you to rock? Maybe to take a twist. Find your way into a happy baby pose. Let your practice find its way into its natural conclusion. Come into Shavasana as you are ready. That includes a nice blanket. Take a nice deep inhale. And slowly release it, exhale. And wiggle out through the fingers and the toes. And slowly shift your way and roll onto one side. And you can come up, find your comfortable seat. And rest for a moment. Hopefully with a sense of space and calm. Thank you so very much for choosing to practice with me and with each other. Have a great day.